Hi, I'm now going to read an extract from a piece called Once Upon a Time in the Midwest. It's semi autobiographical story about. It's set during the summer of 1993, when just after my first year at university, when I spent a summer at a children's summer camp as a summer worker at this particular summer camp. And okay, here we are right now. I could feel a nervous sensation come over me as I sat on a bench in that small Michigan town in the pleasant heat of late August 1993. 10 weeks of washing dishes and mopping floors at a children's summer camp in a rural part of the state, surrounded by mosquito-ridden lakes and forests, had seemed like an eternity. But I had at last reached the end of my, in inverted commas, working holiday. I was bound for Detroit, and then the bright lights of New York City, where I had planned to spend 2 nights to savor the delights of before heading home and starting my second year at university in Belfast. So in 1993, having spent almost 2 decades on this earth, I made my first trip westwards across the Atlantic to the New World. Michigan is a state shaped like a giant oven glove on the shores of the Great Lakes. It gets a mention in Simon and Garfunkel's musical travelogue, America. In the song, the state is likened to a dream. In my case, not my most pleasant dream, to be fair, but I've had worse. So I'd finally got my American visa about a week before I was due to travel, but not after much hassle and bureaucracy from rather unhelpful and irate staff at the US consulate in Belfast, who had tried to fob me off about my passport being in the post office or in transit or wherever, when all the time it had been behind their counter. Red tape, abject inefficiency, and woeful customer service at its worst in action. And not the last of that I would encounter on my travels. I'd been reluctant to go to the States, but it was the only thing I had lined up for that summer, so I effectively ended up on the shores of America by default. Just like many a reluctant immigrant before me, and like thousands of other Irish students every summer, except there weren't any Irish at this particular camp I was destined to spend the next 10 weeks at. Back in Belfast, I'd attended a recruitment event at the university just to keep my summer holiday options open. Once you filled in the form, you could, in theory, have been randomly allocated to a camp in any of the 48 contiguous states. So of my known student contemporaries who also made the trip across the Atlantic that summer, one ended up in Georgia. Although, due to some administrative error, he somehow managed to erroneously board a plane at Heathrow, which took him to Tbilisi, capital of the former Soviet Republic of Georgia, in the Caucasus, rather than Atlanta, Georgia, USA. But that's another story altogether. Let's just say he had a long wait to catch that midnight train to wherever. Or maybe I just made that up in a desperate attempt to make the story more interesting. Who knows? The promotional literature around these American summer camps for students, mostly from Europe, they painted an idyllic picture of camp life, which I was to soon find out was far removed from reality. If you're one of the kitchen staff, that is, which I was going to be. I had a bloody excellent summer, one headline screamed. Where else can you play basketball with a Russian in the morning? It continued. Go canoeing with Swedes in the afternoon, and have a beer with an Italian in the evening. Where else indeed? After a tiring transatlantic flight, I cleared passport control at Detroit Airport, and then collected my baggage and walked out the main doors into the great American outdoors. I saw a few young people who looked like they were heading to a summer camp. I mentioned the name of the camp to an older white-haired man who also happened to be standing there, but it meant nothing to him. He'd never heard of the place. I wandered around the airport entrance looking a bit lost for the next couple of minutes. And then, all of a sudden, as if from out of nowhere, ... I will continue the next exciting instalment another time, so thank you all for listening. Well, if you'd like to listen again, then please tune in at the next time. Thank you.